Hulle sê dat net mense wat baie geliefd is, byname kry, nicknames. En jy het 'n hele paar.
Nee, dat is net één.
Wat 'n een. Ek word as Mr. K, Kathy, Uncle
Kathy is
Kathy.
die een. Dan standaard 8
Ja.
met mathematics
Ja.
onderwijzer, meneer Dupri.
Ja.
Hij kon niet Kathrada pronounce niet.
O ja.
He abbreviated to Kathy.
O, toe word dit Kathy.
When I was in standard 8, 1944. And it stuck. So more people know me by Kathy.
Meneer Kathrada, u is gebore op Schweizer-Ryneke en u het al baie gesê dat die dorp spog met sy beroemde mense wat daar gebore is. Elisabeth Eybers, die digteres is daar gebore.
Sy was 'n buurvrou van hom.
'n Buurvrou?
Ja,
Dis reg.
selfde straat, net my ouers se winkel
Ja,
was net nie 'n blok nie.
reg.
En, ja,
Net
haar huis was
langsam.
daar.
Ja. Het u nog 'n verbintenis met Schweizer-Ryneke?
Baie.
Is daar nog familie?
My familie is nog daar.
Ja.
Ja. Elke jaar reunion.
Is dit?
Ja.
Hoe was u kinderjare daar?
Die principal van die black school het in die middag gekom, 1 keer 'n week, om met ABC te leer.
Sjoe.
Toe dat was nie 'n Indian school nie.
Ja.
Ek kon nie aan die black school of die blanke school. En dat was nie 'n Indian school nie. So, al 8 jaar oud, ek was Johannesburg toegestuur, school toe.
Dit moes nogal moeilik gewees het vir u.
Dat was 'n bietjie moeilik, want ek was net 8 jaar oud. So dat was 'n bietjie moeilik. Maar van daai tyd af was ek in Johannesburg.
Ja. U het op 'n baie vroeë ouderdom al met politiek te mekaar geraak.
Die Young Communist League het picnics, lectures, filmshows, alles wat 'n kind.
Wou hê.
Ja.
Ja. En
So
hoe
deur daai
koneksie.
connection het ek aangesluit in die Young Communist League toe ek omtrent 12 jaar oud was.
So jonk, né? Dis
Ja.
baie jonk, ja.
Maar dat was 'n youth organization. né?
Ja. Hoe oud was u toe u vir Mandela vir die eerste keer ontmoet het?
46.
1946.
Hij was op universiteit met een collega van hem. Heeft gehoord van Fatima Mir,
Ja, ja.
haar man.
O ja. Ja.
Hulle was op Wits Universiteit.
O ja.
So een dag het hulle saamgekom na die lectures
Ja.
en toen ek Wadiba ontmoet. Hulle was 2 studenten by Wits.
Hy het 'n geweldige indruk op u gemaak, né?
En ek dink wel, ek wil sê example volg.
Ja.
Een dag.
Ek wil 'n bietjie praat oor die Rivonia hofsaak. Ek weet dat meneer Mandela julle probeer voorberei dat julle dalk die doodstraf gaan kry. Hoe het julle dit ontvang?
You know, at that time there was this 90-day detention act, where no visitors allowed, no lawyers, nothing. And then we came out for the first time to see our lawyers after the 90 days. Bram Fisher, Beranger, Bezos was still a junior,
Yeah.
Cheskelson. And they told us at the beginning, they didn't say death, but prepare for the worst. So we knew what that meant. So until the very last day, the expectation was death. So much so that in those years, the court procedure was the judge would say, accused number 1 or accused number 2, have you got anything to say before I sentence you to death? So among us accused, the decision was Mandela would make the statement before the death sentence. So that day we went to court. You see, we were found guilty on the 12th of June and sentenced on the 13th, something like that. So He went well prepared, written, in case the death sentence comes. But fortunately, the judge said life, and no death sentence.
Hoe het julle die nuus ontvang?
Our lawyers and ourselves prepare for the worst. So when your mind is preparing for the worst and it comes life sentence, there's a collective sigh of relief. That we are not going to hang.
Terwyl jy op Robben Eiland as 'n gevangene was, wat was die mees traumatiese oomblik geweest?
7 of us were suddenly woken up, handcuffed, taken to the military airport, where they took off the handcuffs and the leg irons. They took them off, put us on the plane, without any notice. And the next morning we landed on Robben Island.
Gosh.
Now, the first day we'll never forget, because it was humiliation. At the age of 34, I was the youngest of the 7. Not the youngest on Robben Island, because we had 15-year-olds too.
Yeah.
Youngest of the 7. So the humiliation comes when we had to change into prison clothes. Governor Mbeki, 20 years my senior. Sisulu, 18 years my senior.
Yeah.
Mandela, 11 years my senior. Because they are black, they had to wear short trousers, no socks. The rationale, of course, at that time was all Africans are children. Like FOXWOOD said, they are children. They must be treated as children. So boys wear short trousers, and that's how they were treated. I was given long trousers, Indians and coloreds. So instinctively one wants to refuse that.
Yes.
Madiba said, no, you never give up what you got. You fight for equality on a higher level, but you never give up what you got. That will be a mistake. That if you give up this thing, that's exactly what the enemy wants. So we had to listen to him. Fortunately, having said that, on Robben Island, about 25 of us were completely isolated from the rest of the prison community.
Julle was ook van mekaar geïsoleer.
No, we were together.
Oh, you were together.
We were working together, but we were all in single cells.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you were in single cells. Yeah.
In single cells, but we were working together.
Yeah.
No, there we spent a lot of time together. At work, for 6 months we were in the courtyard, sitting on blocks of concrete and with a 5-pound hammer breaking big stones into gravel. It was punishment. Of course, if they wanted this, there were machines, but this was punishment. But one gets used to it, and it's better to be out of your cells.
As om in jou tronksel opgesluit te wees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first 6 months we were sitting on blocks of concrete and in the courtyard. After the 6 months, we were sent to the lime quarry, where we had to work with pick and shovels. Now that was difficult. Especially a chap like me, I've never done hard labor in my life.
Yes.
Madiba and them, especially Madiba, who was a boxer and all that, he was quite used to.
So meer fisies.
Yeah. So the two things that I was never used to was the cold showers and this hard work.
It must have
But
been.
the cold showers, up till now,
Yeah.
it's habit.
So hou u steeds van die koue stort nou.
That's a good habit from prison days. The other good habit, of course, is getting up early. But there was discrimination. Indians and coloreds would get more sugar than Mandela.
Good heavens.
Less than Dennis Goldberg. But Dennis Goldberg is white and is in Pretoria. Indians and coloreds get a quarter loaf of bread every day. Mandela and the Africans got bread for the first time after 10 years.
Nee.
But having said that, in the section where we were, among the 25, about a dozen of us were either Indian or colored.
Yeah.
So we pooled all our food together. So in that section, we all had the same food. That could not be done in the communal cells because there were hundreds of prisoners.
Yes.
and very few Indians or coloreds. So there I think they used to have one-to-one arrangements. Right, that's Mandela's cell.
Can I go in? Oh, I can't believe it.
Now,
It's so tiny.
yeah, for 14 years we had no beds.
Sure.
So we slept
Stuff
on
like that.
mats and 3 blankets.
Terrible.
Now when Madiba lies down, there's so much space. This is the toilet.
Good
Because there are
heavens.
no flush toilets.
Yeah. And these bars seem to be abnormally thick.
And that's because prisoners have been known to saw,
Yes, yes,
These
yes,
things.
yes.
but they don't know that inside there's a solid iron bar,
Oh, really?
which is not easy to saw.
Saw through. Whoa.
So that's inside here.
Yes.
The other thing is, of course, these 2 top window panes were not here.
Yes.
So it's even colder.
So that was open.
They left it open. And this here was
The intercoms.
to provide us with music. We caught on quickly. They could also listen to us. You see, at lunch times they used to allow us to gather in one cell to play chess or any
Yeah, yeah.
games, and they could listen to us.
I could listen in. Watter aspek van 'n mens se persoonlikheid dink jy is die belangrikste om te probeer oorleef in 'n tronk?
You see, fortunately for me, my first prison experience was when I was 17 for a month.
That's right.
Yeah. So I knew more or less what prison was. And after that, of course, I was arrested many times. And with the state of emergency, for 5 months we were in jail. So we had a series of experiences
Yeah.
in different prisons in different parts of the country. So when this long term came, it was not new to us. Except, of course, we'd never done pick and shovel work before. So from the beginning, under the lead, we had 4 of the most senior leaders of the ANC in prison: Mandela, Sisulu, Mbeki, Mhlaba. Under their leadership, we had to take a stand that at all cost you protect your dignity. That is paramount. The warders had never worked with political, I mean talking of the original warders.
Yes.
They'd only worked with common law prisoners, and they've seen this political prisoners is something new to them.
Uh-huh.
They were used to the word boss. We don't use it.
No.
They were used to, when a prisoner is called, the prisoner would run. We don't. So this was in line with protecting your dignity.
See.
You don't say boss to anybody, you don't run, you don't take off your cap. So little things like that, you had to protect your dignity. So we humanized them.
Uh-huh.
Until, of course, after many years, the young warders came. They were completely different.
Wat is die grootste wanindruk wat mense oor die eiland het?
There was thing, you say that Robben Island was the worst prison in the country. That was it may have been, it could have been, but for the first year or so, there was a lot of violence
Yes.
in the communal cells, but no political prisoner was killed on Robben Island. Deaths took place, but there were natural causes.
Not.
But nobody was killed.
Not from
there was
maltreatment.
assaults. In one case, there was a chap called Sandra who was a lecturer at Fort Hare in mathematics. His shoulder was broken.
Oh.
But that stopped.
Yes.
They didn't last long at all, the violence. After that, there was absolutely no violence. But the date we will remember, we just touch and go. It was this May 31st, I think, 1971. It was a Friday, we were on hunger strike. You know, we had numerous hunger strikes.
Yes, yes.
We were all on hunger strike. And it was a Friday, we were locked up. We hadn't eaten anything because of the hunger strike. And suddenly the gates opened about 8 o'clock. They unlocked us. They ordered us to strip completely naked. It was very cold. And stand against the wall with our hands like this. Why they pretended to search for newspapers. Newspapers were not allowed. For 14 years, we didn't have newspapers. We used to smuggle, of course.
Ja, ek glo so.
So that's what the excuse they used. But they took their time. Because this is a little cell, and they didn't have to waste all that time.
Exactly.
But they were so happy with this punishment in that cold.
En jy moes poedelkaal in die koue
And we're
staan.
standing naked.
Which is,
And what stopped it is Governor Mbeki, who was in another cell. Of course, we were all in single cells. He was very old, and he collapsed. Now, all of us panicked. We thought it's a heart attack. It wasn't. It was stress, fortunately. But when that happened, incidentally, I should have said these warders, being Friday, were drunk.
oh,
You see, that was routine on
really,
Robben Island.
really, yes.
Unfortunately, Robben Island ruined a lot of lives of the young warders. They had no social life. They could drink. That was and a lot of them were drunk when they came on this night. Where this wall is,
Yes.
before the wall came up, there was what is called the Mandela Garden.
Oh,
Because we were allowed to have a garden.
oh right.
Yeah. And we grew all sorts of things.
When did the wall come up there?
Much later.
Later. And what was the reasoning for the wall, I wonder?
Just to separate us. You see, there are cells like this on the
On the other side, yeah.
So when this wall was not there, people who were punished from the other cells, they were
Yeah.
brought here.
Oh,
And we could make contact with them.
oh, I
So
see.
they wanted to
To stop
that.
the contact, yeah. Okay.
So they built this wall, but in the process they destroyed our garden.
Destroyed your garden, yes. What was in the garden?
There was a grapevine.
Yes?
Yeah, it produced grapes. Melon, a few melons.
Yes.
In fact, one night when everything was quiet and we were locked up, but there was a chap called Billionaire facing this, his cell was among these. And
Yeah.
we heard him shouting, "Hey, leave that melon alone." It was a warder trying to steal
Trying to
our
steal
melon.
your melon.
So we had a few melons
Yes.
and a lot of tomatoes, carrots.
Oh, so quite a good vegetable
Yeah.
garden. Yeah.
Yeah, we had good gardeners.
And these are the ablutions.
Yeah, showers, and these are toilets.
Yes. Not very private.
At first these doors were not there, so we insisted, and then after some years they put in these
The doors in. Yeah.
The lights were on all night because it's a maximum security prison.
Yeah.
But if you registered to study Standard 8,
Yes.
the warders would come and see you with a book, what are you studying? Standard 8, you sleep at 8 o'clock.
If you watch, you sleep.
You sleep at 8 o'clock.
Oh my goodness.
Matric,
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, university, 11 o'clock. But something, I may be wrong there. Maybe matric and university may have been the same. But what I can remember, matric was 10, university was 11. That's my memory. I may be a
That's
bit wrong.
Insane.
But the lights remain all the time. Lights on.
Terrible to sleep in light.
Yeah. No, you get used to it.
I suppose you do.
And of course, you can't sleep with the blankets covering your head. They must be able to see your head.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In die tronk het hy 4 grade deur Unisa behaal, maar hy was nie toegelaat om nagraadse studie te doen nie. As u nou kon kies, watter nagraadse studies sou u wou doen?
No, when the time came and they relaxed, because I was taking them to court.
Yes.
Fortunately, we didn't have to go to court. But when the time came, when they could have easily given me permission, it coincided with television.
Ah.
So when television came, I was not interested in studies anymore. So
That's honest.
2 bachelor's degrees and 2 honors degrees was enough.
Yes, exactly.
I was gonna watch, I've never seen television.
Was daar negatiewe effekte op die familie as gevolg van die tronkstraf?
There was a bit of, for instance, some of my family people were refused passports. And at that time, Indians could not travel from one province to another without permits. Free State, of course,
Was
Indians
out,
were not
yes.
allowed at all.
It's shocking.
But that's another story because I was arrested there as well. So that's how the family suffered a bit more because of me. They were having difficulties in getting even permits to visit me. But they eventually did get permits after some difficulties. Yeah. But the first visits were every 6 months, just 2 a year. And over the years, it improved.
Yeah.
By the time we were released, when I was released after 26 years, instead of 2 visits a year and 2 letters a year, I was writing 30 letters plus 12 letters because I was doing a life sentence. So that was the additional little privilege for life sentence. So it was 52 letters.
52.
40 and life sentence is 12 extra. It was 52 letters and 30 visits. By the time I finished,
Yes.
by that 26 years.
Yes, yes. Jy het al gesê dat jy soms die stilte in 'n tronk mis.
Yes. Madiba said the same thing.
Where you had time to think and
That's right. Yeah.
you still miss it sometimes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hoe het u gevoel toe u vir die eerste keer weer terug gaan Robben-eiland toe?
That was quite traumatic.
I must imagine that.
It was 1990. I went with a French television group. And then when you're confronted with this little cell,
Yeah.
where you spend 18 years of your life, that was quite a traumatic experience. Now, this is my cell. The only importance of my cell been the roof,
Yes.
so I could stand
On the
on my
table.
bench and a bundle of blankets, especially on a rainy day. Animals would gather because Robben Island had 3 or 4 different species of bugs. They are still here.
Oh, right.
So they used to gather here. We used to give them food.
Oh,
So it was lovely just to see
to
animals.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said the prison is a state of mind. If you go to prison or any situation like that, if you go there with a negative state of mind, you're going to suffer.
Yes.
So you've got to go into any situation with a positive state of mind. So under our leadership, Madiba and them, they insisted that we should study.
Yes.
This is the time to study. Of course, they put obstruction in our way. They would not allow, those of us who were fortunate where families sent money for us to register. And the vast majority were from poor families.
Yeah.
If the lawyer sent money, they used to send it back.
Ah.
If the Red Cross sent money, they used to send it back. The result was the vast majority of prisoners could not register formally to study.
Sure.
But there was so much emphasis by prisoners themselves on studies.
Yeah.
So we can claim that no prisoner left Robben Island illiterate or semi-literate.
Yes.
Because we had a lot of illiterate people. In this little section we were,
Yes.
among the 25 of us, there were 4 elderly people who were completely illiterate.
Yes.
But then we had a man called Neville Alexander. He subsequently became a professor after his release. But from that time onwards, he had already been a teacher outside. And he took it upon himself, together with some colleagues, to establish an organization called Robben Island Teachers Association.
Right, yes.
And in this little section of ours, they saw to it that nobody will be illiterate. We had these 4. The same thing applied in the communal cells. There was so much emphasis among the ANC political prisoners.
Ja. U het al gesê dat u en Mandela 'n groot liefde het vir kinders. En dat een van die moeilikste dinge in die tronk was dat daar nooit kinders was nie, dat u nooit kontak gehad het met kinders nie.
You know, sometimes you want to even hear a child cry. So much you miss. I saw a child for the first time, not at Portsmouth. I mean, not in Robben Island,
At Portsmouth.
but at Portsmouth, because there were only 5 there, political prisoners. And so things were relaxed, and we had warders like Brunton, who's still a family friend. They were very relaxed with us. So my lawyer came to see me with this little girl, and being little, she wouldn't stay in the car.
Of course.
So the warders relaxed
Said bring her.
to bring her. But then, this is the first time in 20 years that I see a child.
Ja. Extraordinary.
So there was no legal consultation. It was completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
This child sat on my lap, and the father was a lawyer. I virtually ignored him. He had to come back on another visit.
Yes.
So that's what you miss most. Not food. Food you miss with children. You can make up. I'm still trying to make up for those years we lost. It just comes automatically. Just 2 days ago, I was sitting out at some park, and just for an hour while Barbara was doing something else, I just watched children play. You know, there were swings and all that. So you try to make up. You never can sufficiently, but it's something to see children play, laugh, enjoy themselves. So one tries to make up that loss.
U was nog altyd 'n leier wat gesê het wat u wou.
It was good and bad.
I suppose
Because,
it could land you in trouble.
A few years ago, and come back to this question, but let me.
Yes.
A few years ago, in our foundation, we've got a foundation here.
Yes, I know.
And one of the very innovative researcher, she came to me one day with the file, together with the head of our foundation,
Yes.
smiling. He says, "Here we've got your police file."
No.
It was embarrassing.
Can you imagine?
My speeches, shouting at the police and swearing at them at meetings, you know. So they collected all these speeches.
Really?
Yeah. And it was very embarrassing.
Want u was 'n passievolle persoon.
You know, you grow up that way and you're very brave
Yeah, when you
because there was no torture.
Yeah.
Torture came only in the 60s,
Yeah. Yeah.
the police torture.
Yeah.
Before that, we could be very brave and swear at the police and all that,
Ja.
knowing there won't be any torture.
Yes. Ek het ook gehoor dat toe Mandela hoor dat julle vrygelaat gaan word, het hy julle nie dadelik vertel nie.
He's called to the office.
Yes.
So whenever he is called to the office or gets a visit, or Walter Sisulu gets a visit, we know we're going to get some news that's
Yeah.
not in the newspapers.
Yeah, okay.
So he comes back that morning, and hello chaps, and he goes to his newspaper and, "Oh, by the way," he says, he was called to the office to say that President Botha has announced that he's prepared to release the following people.
Yes.
At that time, I had to go to Drakenstein to see Madiba,
Yes.
and we were taken from Portsmouth. So that night they said, "Look, you're going to eat here, before you go back to Portsmouth.
Wat was die reaksie?
So here we are eating with generals and brigadiers and whatnot. And then they brought the television,
Ja, ja.
8 o'clock news, and it said the president de Klerk has announced the following 8 people are going to be released. Naturally, I look for my own name.
Yes, of course.
Number 8.
Die naam was laaste.
I asked, we are in such good terms with Mr. de Klerk. We meet every now and then, and I tease him. I said, we are very grateful that you announced this, but you didn't say when. He says, no, that's deliberate because good things comes in little bits.
Today, I'm able to announce far-reaching decisions. Legislation is to be tabled shortly for the repeal of the Land Acts of 1913 and 1936. The prohibition of the African National Congress, the Pan-Africanist Congress, the South African Communist Party is being rescinded. People serving prison sentences merely because they were members of one of these organizations will be identified and released. In this connection, the government has taken a firm decision to release Mr. Mandela unconditionally.
U is een van die 3 oorlewendes van die Rivonia hofsaake.
Yeah.
Raak jy ooit moeg om al hierdie stories oor en oor te vertel?
No. It's our duty.
Ja.
And especially when it comes to Robben Island, people ask me the same question, aren't you tired? You can't get tired because it's our duty to convey our experiences. It's history.
Yes.
So never get tired of that. As I said, I've never ever refused an invitation to go to Robben Island.
Hier die afgelope tyd die Racism Stops Here campaign begin. Dink jy dit is nogal jammer dat 'n mens 2 dekades na apartheid nog steeds oor rasisme moet praat nie?
Well, there are countries that had their independence before us, and they're still stuck with problems.
Yeah.
India is still stuck with problems with the untouchables, so-called.
Absolutely.
So we're only 20 years as a democracy.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it could have been much worse. Our constitution, it starts off with South Africa belongs to all people.
Oh, yeah.
The country's constitution, the ANC's constitution. But that's on paper.
Yeah.
A lot of work has to be done on the ground.
Yeah.
And that is where young people come in, because majority population is young. And our foundation concentrates quite a bit on young people. Throughout the year, there are classes with about 50, 60 young people. And at the end of the year, they spend 2 or 3 nights on Robben Island.
Anders as die kollegas was u nie teen die FW de Klerk Boulevard nie.
No, I was in favor.
Yes.
I criticized ANC people who criticized that.
Yes, yes.
You see, they don't know what the role of President de Klerk was. It's ignorance. That's one of the things I hope to convey to Mr. Malema's friend who's coming to see me.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that he's an angel. I mean, he was responsible for Bantu education.
Yes.
But one can't leave out the positive. He lost quite a bit of his constituency
Yeah.
for what he did. But he was brave. He saw the writing on the wall and he took the steps. And he released us.
Ja. Vriende beskryf u verhouding met Barbara Hogan as 'n lieflike liefdesverhaal. Waar het dit begin?
I met her for the first time after she was released from prison. You see, we were released in October 89.
89, ja.
She was released, I think, in January 90.
How long was she in prison for?
10 years. I met her soon after her release, but when on our first trip to London, we were invited to London, and I always tease Cyril Ramaphosa. I said, you connived to see that I sit with this lady. So we happened to be sitting together on this plane trip
Yes.
to London. And that's where the whole thing started.
Yeah.
The rest is history. the rest is history.
Yes.
So we're still together.
Wat sou jy sê is die sement in die verhouding?
Common experience, the past, and both of us are political. So that made things much easier.
Yeah.
You know, especially this thing of a non-racial society, which is part of our constitution, part of our struggle.
Yeah.
So those things, we are blind to that. So it was an easy relationship.
So you've got common values, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Common experiences, common values.
Yeah. Yeah. Important.
But having said that, I always say it in her presence. In one of my trips, this time it was with Judge Kricha,
Yes.
his daughter turned out to be a prison wardress.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I was accompanying them to Robben Island, she asked me out of the blue, "Can you have a Barbara Hogan?" I said, "Ja, hoekom?" Sy is 'n moeilike mens. I said, "Ja, ek weet."
Oh, that's funny.
So they came to her with the food. And her question was, "Did you give the same food to Master Suru?" No.
No.
Take it away.
Yes, well, strong woman.
Yeah.
Ja. Is daar enigiets waaroor u jammer voel in die verlede?
No. My only regret is I didn't have children of my own. But there I've got these guys.
Yes.
Of course, the frame has to be up there. The frame is down there.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Hari and his elder brother Mateo are my godchildren because their mother was a good friend of mine.
Yes.
And I Skype with them regularly. In a recent Skype, speaking to Hari, the younger chap, I said, "Hari, do you remember the last time we met? I was sitting on a sofa and you came quietly from behind and you put your leg around my neck." He said, "Yes." "Do you remember?" He said, "Yes." "Now my neck is sore." I said, "Yes." "What must I do?" I asked him.
Yeah.
He said, "Eat a chocolate." So he didn't have to incite me to eat the chocolate because chocolate and ice cream.
That's lovely.
Yeah, so it's lovely to Skype with them every now and then.
Ja.
Children, you know, are very special.
Ek dink ons kan almal onthou waar ons was toe ons hoor dat Madiba dood is.
No, I remember my last visit to him before he died he was in hospital already,
Yes.
and everybody knew he's not going to make it. So I saw him on his sick bed, and the night he died, I happened to be at an event, a Mandela event, and while there I got a message on my phone that he's not going to last the night. Zelda sent me
Oh, yes.
a message
Yeah, yeah.
that he's not going to make it. So that sort of prepared me for the. Of course, I already, when I last saw him in hospital, I already knew from the doctors also said, this will be the last.
Kon hy u nog herken?
He did, but he couldn't speak because he had these pipes in his mouth and all that. So he could sort of signal. But he held my hand very tightly.
U was baie geheg aan mekaar, né?
We are very close. In fact, there is a saying of his about the two people that he looked to for advice. Because these are the two individuals who are frank, who don't hesitate to criticize him. And those Sasulu and myself. Our relationship was very close. Although I never ever regarded him as my friend. I correct people when they ask me, "Your friend?" He's 11 years my senior. He's my elder brother. Sasulu was my father,
Right.
but not my friends. It's arrogant of me to say, this man who's 11 years, the other is 20 years my senior, to call them my friends. They were my elder brother or my father.
Dankie, baie dankie vir die tyd meneer Kathrada.
Not at all.
En baie dankie vir die heerlike onderhoud.
Thank you for spending your time.
And
One thing I should apologize, you see, because this 26 years of deprivation of freedom of speech, we try to make up when we have patient listeners like you. We try to make up all that. Madiba has said, and I agree with him, what he misses about Robben Islands
yeah,
is the time to study,
yes.
to read, study.
And to reflect.
There's plenty of time.
Yeah, all the time in the world.
My uncle was in prison in 1963 in Robben Island with the Rivonia trial, sentenced there with Tata Mandela, Tata Sisulu, and 8 of them were sentenced to Robben Island. And as a child, of course, I never knew this person. Growing up, my dad always spoke about his brother that was on Robben Island. And my dad promised me that when I turn 18, we will visit Uncle Kathy. So on my 18th birthday was the first time that we met. And, you know, at the time there was a glass separating the visitors. So my uncle was on the one side and I on the other side, and we had to speak via the telephone. There was no contact at all, personal contact. And immediately when he sat down, when the police brought him through and I sat down, immediately we reached for the telephone. And it was like, this person and I we just bonded. We could talk, and the hour went where we just spoke about family matters, and it absolutely was a beautiful visit. To cut a long story short, he's been a politician all his life, got involved in politics from the age of 8. He had to leave his home, Zwaziland, to come to Johannesburg, where he met Yusuf Dadoo, Nelson Mandela and others, where at first I think he was giving out pamphlets. And here he is today at the age of 87, still going strong, still saying what he has to say, always being strict on time. You know, the jail things is still in them. You can't take them out of them. And I appreciate the wisdom and the teaching from the older generation, because it comes with integrity, it comes with honesty, and it comes from the heart. And that is what I appreciate of him, absolutely. Ek sê altyd, it makes me a better person. It takes me to one day where I want to be like him, you know, living my life absolutely with honesty and integrity.
I've gone through this before.
I'm sure. Yes. I hope this one's going to be successful. We've been struggling with the cake mixture. Let's see if you pick it up now, if it stays. You can take your hands out. Ah, good. There's a bucket to wash. Well done. Yes, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
It's a lovely place, this.
Isn't it beautiful, the garden? This is the Madiba rose. I see it's not looking too happy at the moment.
Yeah.
Hy lyk nie baie gelukkig nie. Maar hy sal seker mooi.
Bietjie koud vir dat.
Hy sal mooi word later, ja. Ja.
I admire you a lot, and you are an inspiration, I think, to many South Africans. And I would love to actually wish you more years so that you can make more of a difference in more people's lives. So I'd like to mostly just extend my gratitude I think also representing a lot of South Africans, extend my gratitude to you because you have been an amazing and important role in every South African's life.
Thank you for your kind words.
Ons kyk op na jou vir leierskap. Ons weet jy's 'n veteraan. Ons luister na jou en ons weet jy het baie wyse woorde en raad vir die leiers vir vandag. En ons wil net vir jou baie dankie sê vir wat jy vir hierdie land beteken het.
The future is in your hands. In your hands and in the hands of the young people who form the majority of the country. If you value your freedom, you must defend it. And if necessary, fight to protect your future. Don't let anybody, no matter who or she is, mislead you from what you should be doing. And that is fighting for our own future and for the future of South Africa. As we say to the young people, you must remember where we come from. Freedom did not fall from heaven.
Sure.
But otherwise, don't just concentrate. You must never forget the past.
Sure.
But don't concentrate on the past at the cost of the future.
Yes,
The
yes.
future is in the hands of the young people. Concentrate on that. While you are enjoying the freedom that you are enjoying, always remember that with freedom comes responsibility. Enjoy yourselves. Most of all, study hard. The country needs skills
Yes.
in every direction. We want to reach a situation when we don't have to import skills. We've got enough people who can be skilled. So the doors are open, the universities, the technical colleges are all open. Take full advantage of that and serve your country in that way.
Absolutely.
You know, whenever we walk in malls or somewhere, people stop to shake his hand or greet him at least, you know, or say something. So we were walking in Killarney, and this gentleman comes up to my uncle and takes his hand and says, "Mr. Kathrada, what an honor to meet with you. And how do you keep so young?" So he tells the gentleman, "Go to jail." So I said, "No, don't go to jail. You must walk every day."
No,
Yeah, so
but seriously, bad as jail is, it kept you healthy. In jail, you don't get the food that is the worst enemy. Is red meat. You don't get much of red meat.
Yeah.
We had 2 doctors with us who were prisoners. And they said, when you complain about the food, be very careful. Complain is monotonous. Complain that sometimes it's cold. Don't make the mistake of saying it's not a balanced diet. These were 2 doctors who were prisoners.